you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to be here. It's also my first in China, and I'm very impressed what I've seen here in the city, and moreover the ambitions here in the city. I'm Christopher Freiberg. I'm from a Swedish company called NxGeo, specializing in next generation renewable energy. But I'm also active in several other operations. One of them is Climate Reality, a global initiative started by the former US Vice President, Mr. Al Gore. I'm also a board member of the Swedish Innovators Association, and we work together, among others, with the Chinese Association of Inventions. And I'm also a private entrepreneur driving a construction research project. I'm actually, together with my family, living in a building that is a research project for next generation construction. Today's presentation is how we can more effectively facilitate the transformation towards sustainable eco-cities. And if we study the subject smart cities, there has been a lot of buzzword about that in the last 10 years. But it has been focused very much about IT technology, about sensoring technology and Internet of Things. And all of that is extremely valuable and necessary. But in itself, it doesn't make eco-cities or sustainable cities. We need to combine that with a new economic model and obviously new technology for renewable energy. So the recipe for sustainable eco-cities is a combination of technology, model, organization, and policies, obviously. If we look at this city, as I have understood it, where we are now, I can see that this is already a leading city today with advanced level of civilization. But if we deploy some of the parts, or all the parts that I will be addressing here, we can create a blueprint for a more efficient energy transformation for all the cities in China, and moreover globally. The problem, as you know, and has been mentioned earlier today, we still use 80% fossil fuel. And note my words, the use of fossil fuel is increasing today faster than ever before. Even if we invest in renewable energy, fossil fuel is increasing. And the single reason for that is that the very populated parts of the world, like Asia and Africa, they, for obvious reasons, turn to fossil fuel solutions. So we need rapidly to ramp up more renewable energy. And what can we have? What kind of options? Well, one new option is actually our Earth. You can think of the Earth as a fire planet. Why? Because there is immense heat inside the Earth. Actually, more than 99% of the entire mass of the Earth is warmer than 1,000 degrees. And only 0.1% is colder than 100 degrees. So as we talk today about solar energy and the heat from the sun, also consider the Earth as an incredible energy battery, probably the biggest in the world. The principle of deep geothermal energy that NxGeo is providing is nothing new in itself. You can travel to Indonesia, to Iceland, to California and Italy and a few other countries and see existing deep geothermal plants. But they are all based on very unusual, rare geological conditions and typically located close to volcano areas or so-called geothermal hotspots. Indonesia, as an example, is located on top of the so-called Ring of Fire, which is along the tectonic plates borderlands. But that is not relevant for China or Sweden or most countries in the world. So this, what exists today is very valuable, but it's also very rare and it's not deployable all over the world. This is the challenge that the company I'm representing is now providing a new solution. Now we can bring deep geothermal energy to all the cities of the world. And it's based on the similar principle. The upper part of this big picture represents the classical systems, like in Indonesia, on Iceland, in Kenya, and in California. They are open systems, drilled deep wells, but open systems. Now we are presenting a new system integration based on 6 different technologies integrated to each other, covering all the way from the analysis of the geological heat conditions into the usage of that energy. And obviously comprising the exploration part, much more efficient ways how to reach the heat and make closed geothermal heat exchangers. In Mr. Johnson's previous presentation, you learned about the principle of heat exchangers. And anyone who has studied that knows that an efficient heat exchanger needs to be a closed-loop system. But that is not the case in Indonesia and Iceland. They are open systems, so they lose a lot of the valuable energy. We can even produce electricity from these systems based on very low temperatures. Technically, the possibilities start at around 50-60 degrees, but more efficiently around 100 degrees Celsius. So we use new innovative systems to create electricity based on very innovative type of turbine technologies called dual hybrid organic Rankine cycle systems. This picture illustrates the existing global industry and sector of geothermal heat. On the right hand, you have Iceland and Indonesia, those very rare and extreme locations. And on the left side, the blue dot, there you have the existing shallow geothermal industry, drilling 200-300 meter deep wells and combining that with electrically driven heat pumps. My proposition here and offer is the middle, which is a much larger market, because now we can produce heating, electricity and cooling based on systems that do not require heat pumps. The deliverables of these systems are electricity and heating and cooling, and the waste heat from these systems, low temperatures in the range 10 to 60 degrees Celsius, can be used for agricultural applications, for recreational, bathing facilities, sports arenas, and in colder climate areas, heating of roads and parking lots and pavements, etc., etc. There is immense opportunity for so-called cascade-based energy applications. On the left side of the picture here, you see an existing conventional deep geothermal plant in Iceland. And on the lower picture on the left side, you see the type of regions where you can deploy them. And that is now complemented with this NxGeo low temperature geothermal system, a more efficient and moreover complementary technology to existing deep geothermal, but moreover to solar, wind and hydro systems. We can now deploy this for this city here, or Shanghai, or Beijing, or anywhere in the world. And we are right now preparing the construction of the very first such plant in Stockholm, in Sweden. You can imagine very beautiful, urbanized, integrated, small plants, very space efficient, without any chimneys or emissions. We are talking clean energy 24/7 regarding during the whole year, regardless of season. And this is of course ideal to drive energy for large cities and infrastructures, traffic systems, etc., etc. Also airports and harbors and other energy-intense locations. We can also complement existing geothermal industry like in Indonesia and Iceland, and we can also complement existing energy-intensive industries like steel plants, paper pulp plants, and glass plants, and we can reuse the waste heat that they produce to produce even more electricity with the same ORC, organic Rankine type systems. Our proposition is also a part of a greater strategy how to implement that together with our facilitation of heating and cooling and electricity for cities. So obviously city planners and new city projects need to look at this from a 360-degree perspective. It's very much about planning to integrate the required infrastructure to deliver this electricity, heating and cooling to all buildings. So think of district heating systems as an extremely valuable opportunity to deliver this energy. Obviously, my message here today is that this new geothermal solution is not one single solution. The message is that now we have 4 legs of the chair. We have solar, we have wind, we have hydro, and now we can produce also on scalable, large-scale geothermal energy. So combining that is the way to go for eco-smart cities. We are introducing this now to leaders in different countries. Here we are in Jakarta, in Indonesia, and we are also in India, in Gujarat, and discussing with leading Indian institutions and industries. And I have been introduced to some Chinese interested prospects in Stockholm, in Sweden, where I live, discussing the possibilities to bring this to China. NxGeo has also received 2 consecutive golden awards here in China as part of the World Innovation and Innovators Forum in previous year in Kunshan and the year before that in Jinchang. And that's part of the Global International Federation of Innovators Associations structure. We are located in the city of the former great inventor Mr. Alfred Nobel. That's the city of Karlskoga in Sweden, which is on the midpoint between the capital of Sweden, Stockholm, and the capital of Norway, Oslo. So on the middle point there we have an office. We have obviously offices also in Stockholm. And we are working together with the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and the leading European innovation structure called NxGeo, which is basically the European Union's structure to sponsor and promote innovative technologies. We are preparing and inviting partners to participate with us even in our early projects in Sweden. We are still a small company and we need now to team up with industries and the financial sectors to create the projects that paves the road for this. And the European Union and several Swedish authorities will support in this process. We are also thinking of this new energy technology as a greater solution to inspire research and academic development together with universities here in China and your industry. We are, among other, looking for industrial partners to produce in large scales extremely efficient, small, mobile, high-speed drill rigs used for these kind of geothermal explorations. So it's about city projects, but it's also about economic development and sustainability and partnership. All in all, this new technology, NxGeo, it complements solar, wind and hydro, and we are not realizing other than that it will also for conceivable time be used in parallel with existing fossil fuel systems. But here we have a really scalable system that we can build very large amounts of clean energy to complement today's systems. I'm available today and also during the next coming few days if you are interested in more details, and we are proposing a 4-step partnership program together with local stakeholders here in China, involving what we are doing today in Sweden and preparing for the first establishment projects here in China. I was recently visited by 32 city vice mayors of the greater Beijing area. They came to Stockholm and they listened to a presentation to this, and their reaction was two things. One is a confirmation that these city mayors are now pushed by the Chinese government and President Jinping to accelerate the efforts for sustainability, and the remaining key is to associate this with the relevant financial structures to go from talking about this to actually executing it. And there I'm inviting you. This is a picture of what we are planning to set up in Stockholm. We have 7 prospect sites, and one of them is the greatest airport in Sweden, Stockholm Arlanda Airport, which could have one of these facilities in the next coming 1 to 1.5 years, if our plans are following through. And I foresee that we can build these, also a ring of these here in this very city where we are now, and that would pave the road for execution of large-scale plans all over China and globally. As you know, the great plan of China is the new Silk Road strategy to connect Asia with Europe. And China is already investing big in building highways and railroads and harbors and airports between Asia and Europe. Obviously, energy will be extremely critical to succeed with this. And here we have a technology that can be deployed along this line. I can see a lot of young faces here, and I've seen young students today, and I think these projects should also very much integrate the younger generation, those who will be the beneficiaries of these technologies. We are talking about something that will have impact in the coming years and for several generations ahead. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the organizers and the supporters for this opportunity for me to speak to you. I'm available here today and the following days. A big thank you for your interest and attention. Thank you very much.